Yes, it's now time for George to make his picks this week, and who will the Godfather choose to win, and who will get the kiss of death? That's yet to be seen, but let's start out with Lubbock High and Tascosa out at Lowry Field, George. Can Lubbock High recover after that tough game last week, or is Tascosa going to continue their winning ways?
You know, people always say I'm a jinx. You're just going to purport that, kiss of death stuff. With Lubbock High, it's simple. Who's going to be healthy this week? And that's always a question. That's why, they've cut back in hitting in practice, and, why they're going in just shorts and T-shirts a lot, and, just trying to get enough healthy bodies out there. And then even then, when they get to the game, they get kids injured. So, for Lubbock High, I know it's been a struggle. It just depends on how many healthy people they can get out there. I just don't know if they're going to be able to get enough. Tascosa is a solid group, even though they're under a first-year coach. They've played well. They've just had some tough wins. I just think Tascosa is just going to have a little bit too much for a banged-up Lubbock High team this week. I think I'll go with the Rebels.
All right, Monterey taking on Amarillo in our next game. And, of course, you mentioned it, the Sandies, one of those surprise teams this season. Yeah. They're sitting at 3-1 in the district in that three-way tie for second place right now. Is Monterey going to be able to figure this one out, or is Amarillo just going to keep on this roll that they're on? Well,
the only way I see that Monterey is going to win this game is if they can play ball control offense and keep the ball away from Amarillo's offense, because Amarillo is going to do the same thing with them with that running game and Heath Harrington, an outstanding running back there. Monterey, I think, can do it. They just got to be able to do it on a consistent basis and then not have the turnovers, because if you give a turnover to Amarillo right now, they're going to sit there and chew 8-9 minutes off the clock with the running game and hurt you that way. So Monterey has a chance, but, Amarillo is always a tough place to play. Dick Bivens Stadium is kind of a black hole for some Lubbock teams. So I just don't think Monterey's going to have enough. I'm going to go with the Sandies in this one.
All right, Midland taking on Coronado in our next game. And, of course, Midland, one of those teams, their defense showed a little bit of teeth last week. We know what their offense is capable of. That's going to be a challenge for Rick Henderson in this group to not have 4 turnovers like Monterey did a week ago.
Yeah, the deal is, Coronado's now going to have a little bit of confidence. They've struggled trying to get the ball into the end zone and match the yards. Well, this last week they didn't have the yards, but they scored 33 points. So I think they're going to gain some confidence out of that. And if they can come out with that same kind of confidence, that same kind of fire that they did, that maybe Monterey came out with against Midland, and like you said, avoid the turnovers, then Coronado has a chance. I think this is going to be a close game, but I really like the way Midland plays offensively and defensively. If they put things together on defense, they're going to be a tough team for anybody to beat the rest of the season. And I think it's going to be tough for Coronado in a close one. I like Midland in this one.
All right, big spring at Tiger Stadium for our next game. Friendship, of course, you talked with Brad Davis. We know he's got the injuries. We know he's missing some guys still right now. But that group of running backs is figuring out ways to get the yards and get the points on the board right now.
Yeah, this is a game that kind of like Monterey, Friendship is going to have to win this one with their offensive line and their running game, and that's something that they can do. They've got an outstanding offensive line that's been chewing up yards all year, and it doesn't matter if it's Bobby Huey that's been back there, or Zach Britton, or Roddy Rivas. Gabe Guerrero at fullback, guys like that. Xavier Salas played good at fullback the other night. They've got a good enough running game that I think that if they can control the game that way, that's what they've got to do, because Big Spring, folks, is absolutely loaded. This may be the most highly anticipated game at Friendship since the Plainview game with Jamar Wall versus Taylor Lyons a few years ago. Big Spring is outstanding, both running the ball and throwing the ball. Tyler Tannehill doing a great job throwing it. Monty Anderson, an outstanding running back, running the ball, and then they're playing good defense. They've been tested once against Denison, but they haven't been tested in maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So maybe Friendship catches them with a little bit of overconfidence. I think in a close game, maybe a late field goal, I like Friendship at home in this one.
All right, switching over to District 1-3, and Estacado having to travel to Perryton for their game. And, of course, we've talked about the Matadors. It seems like it's just week on, week off, week on, week off. Are they back on this week, or are they still off?
That's the question, and that's what everybody was kind of saying at the game on Thursday against Canyon. Which Estacado team is going to show up? Is it going to be the team that has 4 or 5 turnovers? Is it going to be the team that protects the ball and plays well offensively? The thing is, they're going to Perryton, and Perryton has quietly had a very good season. They put 51 points on the defending 1A state champions Canadian 2 weeks ago, so that was a little bit of an eye-opener. Yeah, it's 1A, but Canadian is a strong 1A. We've seen them before. We know that they can compete with 1As, 2As, 3As out here. Estacado going on the road just depends on how confident they're going to be and which team shows up. I think the good Estacado team shows up, but I think going on the road is going to be tough for Perryton, or to go to Perryton. I like Perryton in this one in a close game.
All right, sticking with District 1-3A and Dalhart having to come to Cooper. Cooper got that first win finally 2 weeks ago. They got the bye week to rest up a little bit. Does John Wyndham's group have enough to keep going and maybe put something together toward the end of the season?
I think so. I think they're coming off a win 2 weeks ago against Brownfield. They're getting some guys healthy. I would expect probably Richardson to play, probably DJ Ware to play, get a couple other guys back. And I think they're going to be probably about as healthy as they've been maybe in about 4 or 5 weeks. And they've got a Dalhart team coming in. Dalhart was a good team last year, but they've kind of been up and down. They've kind of had estacado syndrome a little bit, with their season. So them coming on the road and Cooper now having a little bit of confidence and knowing how it's done, I think the Pirates make it 2 in a row. I like Cooper at home in this one.
Now, Olton taking on New Deal in our next game. And, of course, we know a lot about that New Deal offense and what they can do on the ground. Is that going to keep them going through the rest of the season?
I think it will. Olton, has been one of our surprise teams this year. They ran into a tough team with River Road. River Road's having a good season up there in Amarillo, and they played them close. But, now they go into New Deal, and it seems like every time we say, oh, this could be the one that, that New Deal stumps its toe on, well, they didn't stump their toe against Seagraves a few weeks ago. I don't think they're going to stump their toe. I think Olton's going to be a good team. I think Olton's going to be in the playoffs, but I think New Deal goes ahead and takes care of business in this one.
All right, Hale Center taking on Rawls in the next game. And of course, we keep talking about the Owls each week. Is this a team that's really going to keep surprising us as we continue throughout?
I think so. Hale Center's been one of those teams that's kind of been in the playoff chase. The last few years, they're kind of been the ones that have been the biggest challenger to New Deal usually. But I think they're going to be there in the playoffs again. I think this is going to be a good way to start district, even though they open on the road. I think they have a better team than Rawls this year, and I like Hale Center. I like the Owls to go in there to Rawls and take the win this week.
All right, in the last game, Plains at Sundown. Of course, the Sundowns looked really good. We saw what they could do at the beginning of the season in beating Post. None of us probably saw that coming. They've been able to win some close games, but Plains is probably playing better football than anyone right now.
Yeah, Plains may be quietly one of the best 1A teams in the South Plains or in this part of Texas right now. They're playing outstanding football. They took care of Smyre this last week, and they've just kind of been rolling all year long. Now they go into Sundown, and you and I know, we know what to expect from Sundown. But I think Sundown has had some struggles this year where they had matchup problems with some of the teams like Plains that can sit there and run the football and control the clock. And I think that's probably going to be the case again this year. I think Sundown will be there in the playoffs, but I think Plains gets this one a big win on the road for the Cowboys.
All right, so Georgia's picks for this week. Tascosa over Lubbock High, Amarillo over Monterey, Midland over Coronado, Friendship over Big Spring, Perryton over Estacado, Cooper over Dalhart, New Deal getting a win over Olton, Hale Center over Rawls, and Sundown gets the kiss of death against Plains. Plains takes that one.
Here we go.
That's all the time we have for this week on Football Fever. As always, we'd like to thank everyone at LISD TV. For George Watson, I'm Travis Graham. We'll see you next week right here on The Fever.